A boring design of support in Zenless Zone 0. Ooh, controversial drama farming war? Of course not, it's flossing. Come on, bro is not farming. He's always on the point. I mean, some of his point is his opinion, so sometimes gotta disagree with stuff. But like, also, like I said, it's his opinion. Don't really care. For me, the boring design of supports makes sense. I couldn't agree more. But at least some of the supports are actually like becoming not boring. I think Yuzua is like one of the first support that is not boring, in my opinion. You know? Maybe some people will find her boring, but for me, I don't find her boring mainly because of her long parry. That is honestly, it's like the best addition about her. But hey,
What's up, guys? It's Flossin, and today I feel like ranting.
yay!
The other day,
Bro
I
is
was
always
talking to
ranting
my
though.
best friend about supports and gotchas, and how I honestly just hate them. Not their design or the characters themselves,
Oh,
but
you hate them. I think mainly the reason why you hate them is that how much playtime they have that you usually pulled for a character to play, but you cannot play it technically, you know? Especially like if you're pulling for your favorite character and it's a support, it's a shame that you cannot play it actively, you know?
the way they're designed in the gameplay sense. They feel like nothing more than stat sticks. And this bugs
Oh.
me, because in other games,
Oh, he's thinking about this as meta-wise. So he's thinking about it as like, oh, support will you just give statistics. But isn't that what support does though? Like, what else does support do though? Honestly, like, I'm more thinking about it like, oh, what should support do? Like, their point is to give stats. Not really give stats, but like boost your stats technically. Boost the damage of the character. So like, it's supposed. I mean, technically, it's boring. And I think it's not even like gacha games at all. I feel like some of you guys will agree that it's not just gacha games. Most games that have support, and there's this like usually even in competitive scene, other people will say like a lot of people don't want to play support, mainly because of like how boring it is to play or how non-action that kind of role is, you know?
I play,
So like,
supports are actually really
I
fun.
don't know.
They change the way I think, the way I move, and the way I approach
Wait, what?
actually works. And this bugs me, because in other games I play, supports are actually really fun. They change the way I think, the way I move,
What
and
games
the way
do you
I
play
approach
that
fights.
support
They're not
is
there
fun?
to hand out free numbers like a coupon at the grocery store. So today, I want to talk about support agents and Zenless, why I understand the way they are but still hate them, showing you an
I mean, it's
example of what I
understandable.
consider a real support from a different game, and share what I'd like to see from
Okay, I'm gonna be very, not angry, but I'm gonna be very like side-eyeing this video if he says like a real support is like freaking Marvel Rivals or like freaking like this competitive kind of like support characters. Okay, I'm gonna be side-eyeing this video if they say that, or if Flossin said that.
Zenless moving forward. If you find this video informative or just enjoy it at all,
I'm
be sure
literally
to drop a like and
side-eye.
subscribe. It's completely free and lets me know you enjoy this type of content.
Subscribe to, guys.
Now, with formalities out of the way, let's talk games. Well. Since I'm making a video on why I hate support agents, that means I have a valid reason to hate on Astriao. Yes, finally.
Finally,
Anyway,
bro.
here's my
Bro
core
is just
problem.
hating.
Supports in Zenless don't feel like characters. They feel like
Yes, they don't feel like characters at all. It's true.
walking spreadsheets. Right now, almost every support kind of boils down to how much attack or crit damage can I give you. It's
Oh
very
yeah, definitely.
predictable. It's very boring.
Yeah.
If it's not attack or crit damage, it's either crit rate, defense shred,
Makes
or
sense.
maybe even some healing sprinkled in if you're lucky. That's kind of it. That's their identity. It turns team building into a numbers game instead of a creative one. Instead of asking who fits my playstyle, I'm forced to ask who has the biggest buff right now.
Okay, wait. I mean, yeah, it's kind of, it's like half. I'm half about this. Whose fault is this? I'm like half about the player base and half about the devs. Mainly because they did try to make supports fun, but most player base will pick something that is statistics. Mainly because it's very like, it's very like simple and simple but strong. You know, so like, of course it's gonna happen, I'm guessing. Because they did try it at the very start of the game. They did try it on Nicole. And I think Nicole is the most successful support that is like very fun support in the game. Who else? I think Caesar is also like one of the characters that are like very creative in my opinion though, but also like kind of boring at the same time because of like the shield. But like at least they did try to be more creative about it. But mostly I think player base will just look on a very simple but strong characters instead of like, like a character that's like very creative kind of support, but also like, I don't know.
And honestly,
You
that's
know
the
what?
opposite
I'm just
impression
gonna
I
let
got when I first
Flossin
started playing
cook.
Zenless. Zenless was supposed to be about creativity,
I'm just gonna
mixing
let him
characters with
cook.
different mechanics. But when supports are reduced to just a numbers game, it starts to make the game feel shallow. And the best way I can explain
I mean,
that
true.
is by talking about Lucy. Lucy is one of the few supports that actually feels like she was designed with an identity in mind. She buffs the team's attack,
Okay.
sure, but she also summons 3 boars that attack enemies during the fight. Now, do these boars do
No.
crazy damage? No. But they could have built her identity around them, and just having them out on the field makes Lucy fun to play. They give her a different type of vibe during the fight, something that separates
True.
her from everyone else.
I feel like they could have made Lucy as a like a sub DPS support where she buff attack and her burst deals like not big damage but like enough damage that it can like support you. You know?
When I have Lucy on my team, I know that this is a support that's participating. She
Yeah.
doesn't just buff and then disappear onto the bench.
And I feel like that's the reason why they made Aftershock, in my opinion. Because of that same concept. But in my opinion also, they couldn't I don't know why they couldn't put the same logic on a support technically.
She throws
They
down
did
her
it
3
on
animals that
Stunners.
run into the fight, and it makes the whole experience a lot more
Interesting.
memorable. Unfortunately for Lucy, she's kind of irrelevant compared to Astriao and Yuzuha. Those two come in with huge buffs, basically double her attack buff, and suddenly Lucy goes from this fun identity support to why would I even waste a slot on her?
Yeah. That's literally what I said earlier. Like they do have like creative support characters in the game at the very start. But with like how the game works, and let's say you just made a very strong support, they would rather just use that compared to like other than other characters in the game. So that's why like I'm thinking about it like it's also like half. It's like the dev's fault for making a character that is like Astrea, where it's like he's not really participating in the game, just giving like stats, but also player based fault where like they just don't care mostly because they just want an easy and effective support basically. And it's not that like it's bad, it's good actually, but like creativity wise and like of course just like flaws in, and I think myself too, it just makes the character's value kind of low, especially like when you don't really like interact with the character itself in the game as much as stunners or like attackers or DPS itself, that's why like, I really like stunners recently, and that's also the reason why I didn't pull for Chingy, I didn't pull for lighter, mainly because they don't have enough on-field time, or like not on-field time, but like like I don't see the value, not really the value, but more like when I'm playing the game, I just don't see their impact in the game, mainly because I need to use them while to stun. So like I taking so much on-field time, but I also do wanna see them. So that's why like when they introduce Aftershock, I really like stunners recently. I start to like Ultra, Trigger, Jufufu. That's why like I really like Jufufu also, mainly because of that reasonings, and I started to like other supports too, like Yuzuha, I always play usual. That's why like they can do it. They can make something creative, but it's just either or. Like the player base is gonna go after the simple and effective route, or devs is just gonna feed those things. So like, eh,
But yes, I get it.
eh,
S rank agents should be stronger than A ranks.
you know.
But man,
Sorry, I'm
it
being
just
yapping.
kills the creativity of team comps when you know the only reason Lucy loses is because her buff isn't big
Yeah,
enough.
stats.
Not because a kit came out that's cool and intuitive. It just makes her design feel completely wasted. And so maybe that's why when I hop over
Oh,
to
no, no, no. I said this again. I said this. Don't make these kinds of game, especially in the competitive scene, a comparison. Yes, you can make a comparison based on like what most players wants to play, like roles and stuff. But if you're gonna compare it to a team-based game that a single player game, you cannot say the same thing. You cannot do the same thing. Okay? I knew it. I knew he's gonna mention Marvel Rivals. But that's the thing though. Like the difference between this is that it's single player and it's multiplayer. You are stuck in like a certain role if you wanna be stuck on a certain role. But like generally you're gonna be stuck on a certain role. If you wanna play support, you can play support. But you can still that's the thing. You can still do something. But if you like in single player game, when you're usually like it's mostly like single player and you cannot really like let others use support, like like I said, like you cannot afford like characters to be other characters other than DPS to be on field. Like that's where like the comparison is like
a different game like
kinda.
Marvel Rivals, I don't feel this frustration.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense for you, and it's the same thing for me. But like I feel like you need to see the format first before you make this kind of comparison, because this kind of comparison is technically not fair. It's not fair. Like and like but it's cool to have these comparisons. I get it, but in my opinion, I feel super different about this comparison because of the format itself. It's such a different format, and I feel like if they ever do a raid system in the game, a multiplayer in Zenless Zone Zero, which by the way they already did that on the beta server and stuff on the testing. They have that since like they've been testing the game. If they're gonna do that, they need to make a support that is like very unfair if that's the case. But like, oh, that's the thing though. Like when that multiplayer happens, then we can compare this to the Marvel Rivals because it's almost have the same format. But for now, we cannot compare it to Marvel Rivals. I get what he's saying. It's valid, but like the comparison is just not fair at the moment until Zenless Zero devs for some reason made a raid system, a multiplayer mode in the game. Then we can say or we can compare this. Okay?
The supports in that game actually feel very fun to play, and it's why I keep locking them
Like I said, yeah, that's the thing, because most of these supports can actually kill, can actually deal a lot of damage. And I play Marvel Rivals and I know about this. Like, bro, I play Mantis. I'm a main Mantis. I'm a invisible woman, kind of like main also. So like even though their support, they have low damage, they can kill. And if you compare it to like a Zenless Zero, which is a single player game, which most of the on-field time is gonna be on your DPS, you cannot do the same format of how support works on a competitive scene to a single player scene. So like I get what he's saying, but also like right now it's a bad comparison. In the future it might become a good comparison. That's my thing.
in during every single game.
That's my thing.
And yes, if you were
Oh
wondering,
God.
I even have my Gooner skin in that game.
Yeah.
Hey, don't hate the player.
Hey, you know what? I need to come back on Marvel Rivals. I need to come back. The only reason why I'm not playing Marvel Rivals is mainly because I'm busy with my Uma Musume. I really need to come back with Marvel Rivals, bro. I need to buy those skins, bro. The new Hela skins. Oh, it's crazy.
Or hate the game. Anyway,
Oh my God.
in Marvel Rivals, I play a lot of Luna Snow. And I mean a lot. If you know Rivals, you know that Luna Snow is insane. Arguably the best support in the game. You essentially have a AoE healing field that keeps your team alive for 10 seconds. You can also switch to damage boosting your team if you no longer feel like they need healing throughout a fight. But this is the thing that most people don't tell you about support. Her real value actually isn't in her ult. Her value comes from her precision playstyle. You're constantly making decisions when you play Luna Snow.
That's the thing though. If you're playing this kinds of game, all your on-field time is gonna be on support. And if all your on-field time is gonna be on support, that means that you need to make that character that support not just healing, not just giving buff, but you also need to make the character deal like at least like almost the same, not that's almost the same, but like deal enough damage that it can kill something, that it can make something difference. And again, it's a multiplayer game.
Do I track my allies at this point to keep them alive? Do I throw my snowball at enemies to try to cancel their ultimate? Do I use her clap to charge my ult faster? Or do I save it for my allies in trouble? Or even something super small, like do I put my snowflake on my flanker who I can't heal during the fight? It's a constant balance of micro decisions.
It's the same
it's not
as
just
Marvel
sitting
Rivals,
there
but
until her ultimate is ready. She's engaging in the fight the entire time.
That's the thing though, if you need to, if a character is gonna be engaging on the fight, it needs to be on field all the time. And the exchange of that is gonna be, you're gonna lose damage if you really want to compare it to Zone Zero. If you're gonna make a character like this, you need to have a balanced team comp, especially since a single player game where you need to control all the roles and you can only play one role at the time, you know?
And that's why she feels satisfying. Because when you win a fight with Luna Snow,
I agree
you
with
know
he's
that
saying,
you played
but
well.
also like
you didn't
not
just
agree
bring
mainly
an
because
AoE healing
it's such
field.
a bad comparison.
And that's really the key difference. In Rivals, a support can feel busted because of skill expression, not just
here's the thing though. Here's the thing. If we're gonna have something like this, it can work in Zenless Zero. But also at the same time, we're gonna have someone saying this role is losing its identity. And guess whose character that happened? Guess who is the character, the opposite of what he's saying happened? It's Caesar. And not just Caesar, the whole defense role. And yes, you could argue like it's just like loss of identity, but at the same time, like they added something about the role because it's like lacking something, you know? Like survivability is not really the best stuff right now in the game in Zenless, but they added something to at least make the character or defense character to be more valuable, like the sheer force from Pan Yinho, sheer force buff, the anomaly build-up increase on my boy Set, on Caesar with like her buffs or attack buffs. But now the community will say, oh, this role is losing its identity. It's not survivability anymore. It's just a support, technically. So why not just make the defense role a support? And same thing can be compared to this one. Just the opposite, you know? If you're gonna make a character that is very on field, you need to, it needs to have an exchange of something. And yes, defense character is not that valuable compared to support. So some of you guys might say like it's gonna deny this like comparison. It's a fair comparison mainly because it's the same thing but in opposite, you know? So like if they are gonna make a support like this, it can work, but also are we gonna have the same level of like perspective as what happened on defense? Because if yes, then a lot of people will complain, and I think most people who complain about the defense character are actually gonna complain about losing its identity. It's not showing, but there is a video like talking about like how Caesar is like the best definition of like, so defense character is losing its identity mainly because of like it's becoming a support instead of survivability. And I get that, you know,
because
there's no
of
survivability
bloated
in the game.
Now, I know
But
that
that's
these
like one
two
of the
games are
reasons
different.
too.
One is a hero shooter, one is a gacha game. Obviously, the practices are going to be completely
Yeah,
different.
the format is gonna be
And
different.
before I even sound like I'm saying Zenless does nothing right, I will give credit where it's due. And that credit
Yuzo.
is Yuzuha. Yes, Yuzuha has a standard 1200 attack buff that S rank supports.
I think Yuzo is like the best support character that they made that feels right. And you need to remember Astral and exemption right now because there's only like two limited support in the game. Yuzo is the second one, and they did her right compared to Astral. And people might say, "Oh, why you're bashing Astral?" I mean, even Flossin agree.
Theme to be stamped with, but she's also really fun. And
Yuzo
her
is very
Tanuki
fun.
cloak ability is incredible. You can hold her basic attack at any time you want to parry, refund resources, and then chain it into her assist follow-up
Yeah.
for extra damage.
It's like the parry is also like a good thing, mainly because it can cancel combo attack from the enemies, like especially on Jane Doe, even on this boss, Miasmic Friend.
That's the kind of mechanic I want supports to have. Something active, something that
And I think we should give Zenless on Zero more time. Because the thing is, Astrea right now is the only one who literally doesn't have anything other than giving stats. And that's their first support character. Yuza is the second one, and they did her right. They made her super good, especially making her value on the field even though you don't use her as much. Still so good and so interactive, which is nice to have.
rewards skill. On paper, it doesn't look like much, but in practice, it's very addictive. This
Yeah.
is why I praise Yuzuha so much in my comparison video to Astra. I enjoy running her so much more than Astra that I've replaced her in basically all of my crit-based teams.
Yeah.
Why? Again, because Yuzuha feels like I'm playing her, not just slotting her in. And to push that boundary even further, even if she came with a weaker buff than Astra, I still would have pulled Yuzuha.
True.
That's just how much her design cares.
I think the same thing. If let's say like Yuzuha have like a low statistics buff, I would still play Yuzuha because of like anomaly build up stuff. And I think the attack is good, but I feel like the attack is not really her main thing. It's mostly because of like the flavor match and also anomaly build up increase. I think that's her best mechanic in her, not just the attack and
Freeze
stuff.
her. And since I'm already comparing to different games, let me bring up Mantis as well in Marvel Rivals.
Okay,
She-
wait. Mantis is a. Okay, if he's gonna. Oh my god, he's gonna compare Mantis to Zenless. Mantis is a healer DPS. As much as you guys push, she's a support. She can heal shit. You can buff shit. She's a DPS. She's literally a DPS. She literally buff her own attack. She have a freaking sleep skill. She can freaking heal herself. Let's not compare to Zenless.
She's considered a support, but she's actually more of a sub DPS. The trade-off for pick
She's not a sub DPS. She's a DPS, bruh. She's a DPS. There's no way we're gonna call her a sub DPS, bro. Oh my god, I still remember when I played Marvel Rivals, bro. Every time I use Mantis, I always freaking top fragging. I always kill. I literally have the most kills. I have the most assists, mainly because I've been freaking healing. I've been DPSing. Maybe it's my team's fault, but also like this is a DPS, bruh. Just as a DPS. Just not a support. Just a DPS. And you can't say me right now she's a sub DPS or just support. She's a DPS. They should have changed her role already.
picking her though
Okay.
is you sacrifice healing for
Change
damage.
the role
And that
already.
trade-off is very interesting to me. It forces you to play differently, forces you to weigh your options. Do you want safety or do you want damage? And if you know what you're doing during team fights, you can tilt the fight in your favor by making the right decisions. That's how you make a support fun. Not by bloating their numbers, but by forcing the player to think.
Oh, the skins. So, I mean, the title itself is kind of misleading. Mainly, I mean, it's not that misleading, but also mainly because I feel like he's just cheating on Astrayo, and I get it. I get why he's cheating on Astrayo because technically the title should be the voting design of Astrayo in Zenless on Zero instead of support. Because let's be honest, he's just cheating on Astrayo. He's not really cheating on any other character. Yes, she did. Flosin did mention Lucy, but Lucy did have a creative mechanic. It's just that they turned her into a stat stick, but it's not the same as Astraeo. Let's be honest. Okay?
Yeah,
Let's be
if you were
honest.
wondering as well, I also have the summer
Oh
skin for
my
Mantis
god.
and the twerking emote.
Oh my
Yep,
god, bro is a
the
gooner.
Gooner allegations are undefeated.
Jesus.
Anyway, my
She's
biggest
so thick,
concern
bro.
is that Zenless is kind of trending towards a stat stick design.
Nah. Right now, no. Mostly on the whole characters lately, yes, I would agree. But on support, not really. In my opinion, I feel like Astraeo is just like a literally like that one time, and Yuzo is like. By the way, this is just like second limited as a support character, and we're having the next one soon. So like it's either gonna be statistics or statistics with a good mechanic in the game. So like like
Every support agent just feels like they're created to outdo or be on the same level as the last support that came out.
we only have two support characters that came out. I mean, yeah, sure, I guess.
In terms of raw buffs.
I guess.
And because of that, the advice for every new support agent is always the same. Just pull them, they're broken. That's a problem to me, because it kills variety, kills creativity, it just makes supports seem very predictable
Here's my thing about this whole video.
and
I'm gonna
very
say it
stale.
at the end of the
And
video.
I bring all of this up now because Lucia is about to drop in 2.3. And I already know my advice is going to be pull her, she's broken. And while that might be technically true,
Did
it's
did
not
he
exciting.
see
It's not
licks or something?
engaging. It doesn't make me want to play the character. It just makes me feel like I have to. And that's kind of why I hate supports in Zenless. Not because they're weak, but because supports could be so much more than what they are right now. But yeah, I think that's enough yapping out of me.
Makes
Guys,
sense.
I hate support agents in Zenless. Not because of their strength, but because of the missed potential. They could be
I'm
fun,
gonna speed up
interactive,
now.
and rewarding characters. But instead, the devs keep making them into glorified number generators. And that's why I've just kept running my original roster of Lucy, Seth, and even Nicole. And while I know Nicole is a bad example of an intuitive support, she still has cool text like aiming her orb into the air and dropping it onto enemies. That's still identity, and it makes clearing content a lot more fun. Anyway, I know I've said a lot in this video, and because of that, this whole thing has me really, really curious. What do you guys think? How do you feel about the philosophy of
I think I can end it. I can stop here right here. I guess most in conclusion and what he said is just Astra sucks, not because she's not strong, but mainly because she's just a stat sticks and she's not doing anything. And also, I cannot agree with what he's saying, mainly because of like the sentence of like they just keep releasing support characters that are stat sticks, mainly because Zenless 1.0 didn't really like make a lot of support. Like they only did Astraeo and Yuzuha, and I guess old characters, but that's the thing, it's old characters. I mean, yeah, also, I guess you could also say that. But the thing is, on the support category also, they do have like some good kits, like Seth, like he said, Seth, Nicole, and Lucy. They have some good kit. Like I would say even like Arena and my girl Sokaku, because Sokaku can help with anomaly so much. Like literally like Sokaku helps a lot with like frost teams, or not frost teams but ice teams. He works a lot, especially like freezing the enemy on the stuns, and with Rina also with like generating shock. And some might say, oh, it's not creative, but the thing is, you also need to think on how to use Rina and Sokaku. I do agree what he's saying, that Zenless 0 is becoming more stat sticks. I do agree with what he's saying, but I feel like it's only because of his mindset being a competitive mindset and how competitive games make support that you compare it into a single player game. And I get that, but the thing is, they do have different format, and one of the also thing is that he's just shitting on Astraeo, which, like I said, it makes sense that he will shit on Astraeo. It makes sense. As much as I say also, like just pull for support because they're broken. I also say that, but like at the same time, I do feel the same way as he feels about Astraeo. But I feel like it is literally not really shitting on support characters itself, but more on like Astraeo only. So I feel like the title is kind of misleading. I mean, the title is true, but also like kind of misleading, So like I do agree with most of the like literally I agree with all of the stuff that he's saying. It's just that the format of it, comparison wise, the characters stuff, it's just I don't know. It's kind of like the format is kind of messy, I would say. Comparison and stuff, comparing it to a competitive game and stuff, you know. I mean, it's a rant, so I can agree. I can criticize this rant. I can like, you know, give my opinion too. I agree. Actually, I agree 100% with what he's saying. It's just that it's very messy, and I feel like there's no point for this criticization yet for supports. But it's the right time to criticize Astrael. That's my thing about this video. I think some of you guys will agree. I don't know. Comment down below if you guys agree. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Subscribe to Flossing. Link in the description below for the original video again. Support Flossing. And yeah, I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.